Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Border Beats. Usually we take this time to have a chat with one of TTEK's bench of customs modernization experts on a variety of topics. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're welcoming Dan Rochon to this episode. Dan is TTEK's Chief Project Officer and is our executive lead for delivery and implementation of our global major customs modernization and border management projects. Dan's here today to talk to us about a very interesting and prominent topic in customs modernization, and that is on electronic single window solutions. Dan's a global leader when it comes to this topic, having worked on several single window projects, including in Canada and Barbados. Specifically, Dan's here to talk to us today about a common misconception regarding what makes up a true comprehensive, modern electronic single window solution. He's here to talk about his views on what makes up that modern type of solution, and hopefully our clients and listeners will find this interesting. Dan, with that, over to you.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate the kind words. So single windows, definitely been a topic that's been near and dear to my heart for many years now. And one of the things that I've come across in doing these projects is that people approach the concept from a variety of different angles. Now, to their credit, the WCO and WTO have done an excellent job of trying to frame single windows and the definitions that can encompass every nation in the world. But there's obviously some challenges, and being able to understand what the expectations are of a single window within your nation's context is very critical to getting the benefits to your nation. So from my perspective, I distill a couple concepts out of the WCO TFA, for example, and the UN Recommendation 33. These are some core documents to research if you're interested in this area. But the reality is single windows need to encompass your logistics process and specifically need to focus on the customs process. One of the things that many single windows have encountered don't do well is LPCO management. So that's license, permit certificates, and other documentation used to provide evidence of regulatory approval for a shipment coming into the countries. Now, you can manage these in many different ways. Most countries have a paper process of application for them, of submission of the documents when you submit your commercial goods and your regulatory filings. But the problem is these paper processes are very inefficient. And when governments try and track what's coming into the country, when they try and do an audit on what was approved and what wasn't, and the time frame to create these approvals, it's very significant. For example, I believe Barbados was looking at an 8-day delay dwell time for its containers in port, and the vast majority of that was due to their license regime. So you can tackle that from a number of different ways. Some systems will simply attach an electronic PDF, a scanned version of the document. Some people will try and ignore the problem. From my perspective, one of the big things you can do right with single windows is you can attack the problem by having electronic documents. So that means a document that incorporates in it the ability to store each data field and has business processing within it that allows that document to go between agencies for approval. So this gives you a bunch of benefits. For one thing, things are faster. You don't have to wait in line applying for a permit in one of the capitals. You can also get transparency as a trader. You can actually see what step is holding it up. What have you done wrong with the submission documentation that's caused such a slowdown? And maybe you can fix that in your business so the next time it's much faster. This kind of promotes the self-improvement on trade. And the transparency also affects the government. The government looks at this, and auditors within the government can take a look and find the exact department that is causing a slowdown in these approval processes. So from these kind of small changes and thinking of a single window as managing electronic LPCOs, you can make huge differences. Another thing is the business process modeling. So I talked a little bit about that with the approval processes for the licenses. A lot of times single windows don't put enough attention into trying to remove some of the steps involved. You can have a process as electronic, but if it still takes 10 steps or requires a committee to convene, it's not going to be very fast or efficient. And sometimes you can take a more common sense approach. A lot of permits are put in place for what we call statistical measurement purposes. So that's some government agency trying to get a handle on how many motorbikes are imported into a country, for example. You can, using a modern single window system that has electronic documentation in it, you can get that answer right away from the system. You don't have to talk to trade. You don't have to put an extra barrier in place for trade, and you get that benefit right away. So that leads me to the third kind of grouping that I'd say, third pillar, if you will, that's key to a modern functioning single window, and that's proper data in and out of the system. A lot of projects I see when people put out an RFP, they focus on data coming into the single window, which is good, but don't forget the second hand. You need data that comes out of the single window effectively. In fact, there's an excellent case study in Canada where we were able to provide a measurable benefit, i.e. increase a private sector's business by providing them with data, which was zero effort for the government, given the framework we had put in place, was a small effort for the trader, and I don't know what the exact numbers are, but they were very happy to provide this benefit to their customers and clients. That's something that's an area where more attention, I think, should be paid to people that are setting up single window projects. There's all this repository of data you will build if you construct these electronic document inputs correctly, if you construct the approval processes correctly, and that corpus of information you can provide internally to auditing, you can provide it externally to trade, and make a huge difference overall. So is there an area there that you wanted to dive into there, Brent, or where did you want to go?
Well, I more of a general comment, and what I've learned from you and then seen in place in some of the projects we've been delivering, and just exposure to a variety of nations' approaches to the electronic single window is that it's not just a technology solution. That for a fully functioning modern electronic single window solution that is able to deliver the benefits to trade and to government, it requires also a certain element and focus on process reengineering and change management into processes, capabilities, procedures as well. And that's one thing I know I've taken away in our discussions and seen, that not to rely on this as totally a technology solution.
100%. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we try and promote a holistic project. When I go to deliver one of our TTEK projects, we have a business arm and we have a technology arm, and they are dovetailed together from the very beginning. So we don't have a new business analyst going out to the client and asking, what is your process? We have an experienced multi-decade customs consultant who says, I understand your process is probably this. Can you give me some extra information, some details? Why did you make the choice to have this approval step at this point? What happened to you 20 years ago that made your nation put in that approval document? Many times I've been in discussions with what we call other government agencies, and they'll point out that, oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, we had an episode of bovine flu or something that caused a bit of concern. And so therefore they put in place this approval process. So having that understanding in your technology arm, it's a huge improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, I would caution any of our potential clients, or really any non-clients, that if someone is selling you a single window solution that does not involve process change, process reengineering, you're not going to achieve the ultimate functionality and the ultimate benefits that you're expecting of a modern electronic single window solution.
For sure, and I think a lot of people that are in this space looking for solutions, they need to set the bar high on their vendors. Modern technological solutions have mechanisms in place to make things extremely transparent, to make things very readable, multiple languages. That's not a problem with modern technology. Having something, an approval process, which is displayed at every step of the way, who is responsible, who is currently making that decision, how long it takes them on average to do that decision, having a visual map of that. All these are great aids that weren't really possible 20 years ago, but with a modern system, it's not really a problem to put these in place. And the benefits are huge. The last thing we want to do as implementers is put in place a technological solution that is hard to learn. I feel that transparency really feeds into adoption. If you want your organization to adopt a new technology, they need to understand it. And that technology can't be black magic. It has to be exposing what's happening at every step of the way so that trade and government officials build trust in it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great, Dan. I think I'll stop it there. I know for a fact that you could talk about this all day, but I will stop it there. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking part and help educating us a bit on this issue further. So thank you for your time, Dan.
Thank you, Brent. See you
Okay.
around.